Hey everyone, welcome back to another video of the good, bad, and ugly of our everyday customer experiences. I'm Brendan Polk, Director of Marketing. With me as always is Mike Doloff, Chief Revenue Officer. If you haven't been keeping up, in this series we're sharing our personal experiences as customers and what we can learn from it. We've covered good and bad and ugly examples in the past, and today we have another ugly story to share about Mike's experience with contacting a credit bureau. So I'll hand it over to Mike.
Hey, thanks, Brendan. Yep, I'll make the story short and sweet. I needed to reach out to one of the credit bureaus. Been lots of, as everyone knows, lots of data breaches, etc. across that. So been recommended from the credit bureaus, I think, to have credit holds. So I'd put a hold on my credit to make sure there wasn't somebody doing something crazy without it being me. So I needed to contact them to unhold it, to do something. And I went to the website, figured out what I could do, and they said, you got to call in to do that, which is like, okay, I'll call in. Sat on through a long IVR, a lot of layers of an IVR after that. And then I finally got to talk to somebody who couldn't help and wasn't helpful at all. And that was my experience. It was pretty dissatisfying. Ultimately, was able to get done what I needed to do, but it was a very lackluster experience. I'd consider it a pretty poor, even ugly experience. Let me break down the pieces of this of what made it bad, what made it ugly. So the first thing is I'm looking for information. Where do I start? Where do most of our customers start when we're looking for something? If we're a customer, we're starting typically looking online for something, right? Google's our friend, or whatever your browser of choice is. So the first one is, they gave me the one channel to fix this. And I'm not a deep expert in credit bureau, security policies, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe they have to have a conversation for this. But my initial hope would be, hey, if I could authenticate myself and do this through the website, that would be ideal for me. Then I could do it in 5 minutes instead of an hour. So offering up only one communication channel is a bad start to something in 2020 especially. So that's the first part. The second part, though, it's time to simplify the IVR. Some organizations have gotten way too out of hand with trying to deflect a human conversation, and they've given so many layers to their IVR that you get people pretty frustrated or pretty deep into an IVR before they get to talk to somebody. That's when you start getting people going 0-0 representative, trying to get out of it because they're stuck in this awful IVR hell. So be mindful of that. This organization that I was contacting was clearly not mindful of that, because it was way too many layers of, when your little phone screen is showing all the characters and pounds and things that you've entered, and it's like you've looped through that like 20 times, you've got a problem. That's been way too many inputs. So time to step back, simplify that. When's the last time you sat down, if you have an IVR, and walked through that? What was that journey like for a customer? Are you helping them get to where they need to go quickly? The next one, I didn't even share this part of the story, but the first time I went through that IVR, the way that I felt like I should have, listening to the prompts, etc., after whatever it was, 7-8 minutes of getting through, I pressed the button to talk with a representative. It was actually broken call flow, like it disconnected the call. And that was super frustrating. So it's like blocking and tackling basic stuff. Test your call flow. Like, you can't have that. And so I went back through, and so a lot of people presumably aren't getting in if they do that same path as I did, or they've fixed it since then. But I went through a different set of options to get to that similar end state, where I could talk to somebody, to just get somebody on the phone, right? So again, it's, what are we trying to solve for? Solving problems, or are we trying to deflect people or frustrate people away from getting help, right? And if you got broken call flow, it's a really quick way to frustrate people. Again, I don't think in 2020 that's something that's very excusable. You've got to be a lot of systems, technologies, and even just if you don't have that, test it yourself. Walk through it and make sure the systems and the settings work. And the last part, the last bonus of this is, make sure, and this is not a ding against outsourced support. We a lot of customers we work with outsource support, in-house support, a blend thereof. It's fantastic. The models make sense for whatever the business needs. But in this case, I finally got help with a real person, and the sort of overflow help that they had passed me to, their outsourced call center help, couldn't answer the questions really, right? Couldn't help me out with what I needed. So it was a really big disservice from a customer experience standpoint of finally getting somewhere, finally reaching a live body who can't help me with the questions I had. So they had to transfer me somewhere else. So make sure that all parts of your organization are lining up for that customer experience you're needing, including if you have a strategy around outsourcing, that it aligns with what you're trying to achieve for your customer experience. So ugly experience. Glad I don't have to do that every day, but if I did, I'd probably be complaining to them quite regularly because it was frustrating. But that's my bad experience working with the credit bureaus. Hopefully yours isn't as bad. But yeah, as always, love to hear experiences you've had. Break them down. Break down the pieces of what makes them good, bad, or ugly. Talk about them, share them, and learn from them. Thanks, guys, so much for tuning in. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone.